Hello, everyone, and welcome to part two of the top 50 of best albums from 1969. If you are joining in for the first time in this video, you can find part one here above, and now I'm going to continue with number 13. And here on number 13 is Neil Young with Crazy Horse, and everybody knows this is Nowhere. I am just astonished by the sheer quality of songwriting here. There are so many great Neil Young songs here, opening with Cinnamon Girl, then Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, and at the end of side one you have Down by the River. So many great melodies, and ending this off with Cowgirl in the Sand. 10-minute song, but it never becomes boring, and there are so many of these all-time Neil Young classics on here. It is just brilliance after brilliance. And Crazy Horse, the sound of that band, it just it gives a different vibe. Of Neil Young starts to sing different. He has this rougher side that just shows up when he's performed with Crazy Horse. What I have here is the pressing from the Neil Young archives. I also have a first German pressing, I believe, but this one is so much better. Mastered by Chris Bellman is just this series, the Neil Young Archive series. It's an audiophile treat, honestly, and for very fair prices. You get such an incredible sound. At number 13, Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Everybody knows this is Nowhere. At number 12, another jazz album, and it was about time. As a matter of fact, this is one of the first jazz albums that I ever listened to. I got this as a present. It's Miles Davis in a Silent Way. I got this when I just moved into my new house here in Amsterdam, and I live at the top of a building and I look at the skyline of Amsterdam. So late at night, I had my old receiver, not a very good receiver, but I got this American pressing because a friend of mine got the Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab pressing, so he gave this one to me. And I wasn't too aware of jazz, but then with the sight and the lights of Amsterdam at night, I listened to it in a silent way to Miles Davis, who plays the trumpet like no other, who is so skillful, so delicate. There's so much emotion in it. And the entirety, this band, the skill of these people. I mean, he's working here with Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, and Wayne Shorter, just to mention a few. It is a sound that's really developed. It's not the typical Miles Davis sound like you might know from Kind of Blue, as his 50s sound, although that warmth and intimacy is there. And a year later, he would develop into another side of jazz. He would invent basically acid jazz with Bitches Brew. Love that album as well, but I play this one more. In a Silent Way just has this unique quality to it. It's gorgeous. At number 12, Miles Davis in a Silent Way. At 11, I made a remark about white blues rock in the other part of this video, and blues rock is never going to sound as rough as this. Led Zeppelin with their first self-titled album, Led Zeppelin. I mean, opening with Good Times, Bad Times. And then number 2, when you hear that Spanish guitar and Jimmy Page walking, and all these small elements he adds there, and then Robert Plant, baby, 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 I'm gonna leave you in the summertime, leave you when the summer comes around, baby, baby. The moment when it just gets it, da 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 da, dum 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 dum, da 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 da. There's so much power and energy here, and then nearing the end, you get this do 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 do, maddening. I mean, maddening, maddening good. And if you think you've already had it, then you get number three. You shoot me all night long. It's a Willie Dixon song. And then Dazed and Confused. Ah, that's just side one. That's just side one. Side two. Your time is gonna come. Black Mountain Side. Communication breakdown. It's always the same. And then I Can't Quit You, Baby. Another Willie Dixon song. How many more times? Ah, yeah, yeah. This is just superb, superb. Uh, I play it so often. Masterpiece at number 11, just 11. So if this is 11, what's left to come? Well, some some stuff. 1969 is the most amazing year because here at 10, I have the 2001: A Space Odyssey of musical records. It's Captain Beefheart and his magic band Trout Mask Replica. And what I'm holding here is a first German pressing. These are tough to find. Even in Europe, they are tough to find. And if you open it, the magic already starts. This is the story of a band that went into the woods in a cabin and they faced madness. You can see it basically in the film Frank, which is inspired by the recording sessions for this album. There was not a lot of food, there was not a lot of space, and Captain Beefheart drove them insane. But the insanity was met with brilliance, skillfulness, so that this is one of the most, well, perhaps complicated albums around, because when I listened to it for the first time, I didn't like it one thing. Then I read an article about it in which they said, yeah, but the thing with Trout Mask Replica is you gotta listen to it 10 times and then you have an experience which will last a lifetime. And not looking forward to that, I thought I might get into it because in films you sometimes also have that. I compared the two to one a Space Odyssey, but Space Oddity. No, Space Odyssey. Oddity is just Bowie album that I just talked about. But that immediately struck me. I loved that immediately. But I thought, you know what? I don't want to miss out. I also saw Bela Tar's Satan Tango, which is a 7.5 hour film, black and white film from Hungary, two times. And you know, if you take your time, certain things can grow. Luckily, at the third or fourth listen, I didn't have to wait till the 10th listen. It happened. And you start to notice much more that in this chaos, there lies brilliance. I don't think there are any other albums in which chaos kisses brilliance so often. So there are moments which are odd to the ears, and which you just think, why are they doing that? Why is that necessary? And then you hear the most gorgeous melody, just most gorgeous melody, and it might be out of timing, because, for example, Captain Beefheart himself, Don Van Vliet, was not always singing with headphones on or listening to the band recording. He was not always actually aware of what was going on. Oh, that was something for the engineers room. It's produced by Frank Zappa, who had some interesting stories about it in his autobiography. It's a masterpiece. It's a unique masterpiece, and it's just a 10. I mean, 1969. You get 1969 being 1969 for you. At 9, what's gonna top it? Well, at 9, the best album by the Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed. Honestly, I think this is the best album by the Rolling Stones. Have they ever made an album with so many incredible legendary songs? But they have made a lot of incredible legendary songs, but so many on one album. It opens with Give Me Shelter. I mean, just the way that Keith Richards guitar, that and then Jagger's timing is just so good. So, oh, the storm is, yes, and then the song just gets bigger and bigger, and we get the most lovely, sweet, great, full sounding. Yeah, is it backing vocal or is it actually just blowing Mick Jagger away? Or let Jagger's fine by it because it's an explosion, and it's just the first song. The rest of the album has things like Love and Fame. They do a brilliant version of this Robert Johnson song. I believe Robert Johnson wrote it in 1926 or something like that, and it feels just as alive in 1969. Midnight Rambler, I love Midnight Rambler. You get Let It Bleed, You Got the Silver, skillfully sung by Keith Richards. Live With Me, good song. Monkey Man's a good song. Country Honky Tonk Woman is good, and you can't always get what you want. The way that choir starts, and this got some of the best Keith Richards guitar playing, and then on that rhythm, I saw her today at the reception, a glass of wine in her hand. I just, oh, it's so smooth, it's so good, it's so emotional. I just love it. At number 9, the Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed. At number 8, gonna put an odd one out here. Gonna put an odd one out because I sincerely am convinced that it belongs at number 8. It's one of my most played albums from the last couple of years. And whenever I put this on, it takes over the room and the atmosphere. I've wanted to let friends hear just one or two songs and they will know. Finish this album. This is beyond what we have ever heard. I'm talking about Mickey Newbury's Looks Like Rain. Mickey Newbury is one of the great unknowns. Why? Well, he was not unknown to the American music scene because within the American music scene, he had a very good reputation. He wrote songs that have been covered by the biggest artists, from Frank Sinatra to Elvis Presley to Willie Nelson to Nick Cave. Everybody. He's been covered hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And when you listen to the man himself, he who built his own studio in Nashville because he wanted to develop new and different sounds, he wanted to make a different kind of country album. He was so pure in the way he wanted to tell a story, but he also had such different ideas. The way he plays his guitar is so well defined. The way he sings is so sincere, controlled, behaved in a certain way. But he's one of the great storytellers. And it's not just that, it's not just great storytelling, it's great mood setting. He uses field recordings to create an atmosphere, to give you the feeling as if you are traveling across America with Mickey Newbury himself. Looks Like Rain is it melancholy? I'm not sure. I know one thing for sure. I'm gonna put Nick Drake, 5 Leaves Left, first on, and then I'm gonna put this one on. I'm having friends over tonight. They're gonna listen to Looks Like Rain. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. At number 8, Looks Like Rain by Mickey Newbury. At number 7, second Frank Zappa mention, because here he is, Hot Rats. And again, this is also another mention for Captain Beefheart, because Captain Beefheart sings Willie the Pimp, which is an insanely nice song. And the entirety of this, I'm starting to sound like Frank Zappa. No, I'm not gonna. He has a much deeper, gorgeous voice. Nevertheless, this is one of the best Frank Zappa albums, and he was. This might be the moment where he in, reinvented himself, or it's the most specific sounding Zappa for the 70s. Love it. Love the cover as well. I mean, there is this edge of insanity. Love it. On number 7, Hot Rats. Gonna move to number 6, one of the best records by the Velvet Goldmine, the Velvet Underground. Velvet Goldmine is a David Bowie song. The Velvet Underground, their 1969 album, The Velvet Underground, self-titled. It is actually their third album, and the first one without John Cale. Now, John Cale was a genius, and John Cale was essential to the sound of the first two Velvet Underground albums. Yet, there are those who even prefer this one. I believe Brian Eno even prefers this one, but I'm not sure. There were some big names in the music industry who said go for this one. It's completely different. It's not avant-garde. It's intimate. Lou Reed stopped using drugs at the time of this album. And while he quit that, he was confronted with his pure sensitivities. The sensitivities and sensibilities he actually was trying to numb with heroin. And before he started using again, he put those sensitivities in songs. And these are among his best crafted, most intimate, fragile human compositions that he has ever done. Even more so, in the studio, he wanted the audience to come closer. So he put the microphone very close, and he did not raise his voice. He almost whispered. Now, the engineer thought, well, if you're whispering, I ain't going to raise the volume. So the American version, and most versions, have that mix. Well, Lou Reed is soft. But Lou Reed went back into the mixing room, and he made the mix in which he got his volume the way he wanted, which the whispering really gets into your ears. And that is this pressing, this British pressing. He sent the Lou Reed mix to the UK. And here you hear the most intimate songs in the most intimate manner sung. This record and the sound of this record seriously influenced me as a filmmaker. I've currently got a film playing. It's going to be doing some American festivals in September and October, and it's going to continue to be shown there, and you can see it in Europe the next year. It's called Out, by the way. And a lot of the scenes are actually inspired, the intimate scenes are inspired by the sound quality and the intimacy that Lou Reed has here. And I talked about it with the sound engineers and the sound recorders. I want that. I want the way Lou Reed does. Pale Blue Eyes here. And then I'm just talking about the mixing and the performance, but Candy Says, a song about, can I say, body dysmorphia, or somebody who's unhappy with their body, and how intimate and fragile Lou Reed makes it. Yeah, he doesn't sing it, but makes it sound. I mean, in the lyrics. Then what goes on? Some kind of love, so good. Then Pale Blue Eyes, which is heartbreaking. Then the song Jesus, which is a plea, but a non-religious plea for Jesus. I mean, that makes it even more sad. And that's just side one. So many great songs. Side two, Beginning to See the Light. And that coming from a Lou Reed who was staring into his problems, pure, without drugs. Man, the Velvet Underground's self-titled album is a masterpiece. Masterpiece. On number 6. I'm gonna put this as well. I'm already deciding what we're gonna play tonight. I want to listen to it. Number 5. Well, we're gonna go from some sheer power and energy with King Crimson, the Court of the Crimson King. Damn, am I curious how this would have sounded back in the day in 1969. Opening with 21st century schizoid man. Down, da, 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 down. I mean, maddening sound, trumpets, just the most insane guitar, a voice that sounds like nothing ever heard before or after. Then things like Epitaph and the Court of the Crimson King. A maddening epic of sound and new impulses. King Crimson, a brilliant band, but this is their Dark Side of the Moon. As a matter of fact, it's among the best progressive rock albums, together with Dark Side of the Moon. This is mesmerizing. At number 5, The Court of the Crimson King. At number 4, yeah, Towns Van Zandt. I actually bought this a month ago, and it was still sealed. And it's this is the second pressing from 1978. The album is, of course, from 1969. You can't find a 1969 pressing; they go for thousands and thousands of dollars. So I was so happy to find this in seal, and my heart broke opening the seal. Why? Well, it's been there are not so much of these as well, a couple of thousand, and this one was still in seal, so it hadn't been opened. And to listen to an analog pressing of Towns Van Zandt, um, I just couldn't resist, so I had to open. I also thought, if I keep it sealed, what's the point? It's there to open it, but it also felt like intruding in history. Yeah, I know it's weird, but I'm so happy I opened it because this is beauty. The definition of beauty. The definition of beauty within sorrow, as a matter of fact, because this record contains Waiting Around to Die, which is the first song that he wrote. And that type of writing. These lyrics are so good. One time, friends, I had a ma, I even had a pa. I hit her with a belt once. He hit her with a belt once because she cried. She told him to take care of me, so we headed back to Muskogee. It's easier than just to wait around to die. Now I'm out of prison. I got me a friend at last. He don't cheat or steal or lie. His name is Codeine. It's the nicest thing I've seen. Together we're gonna wait around to die. Together we're gonna wait around to die. First thing he wrote. That's brilliant, brilliant songwriter. Produced by Kevin Eggers. So many great songs. The sound is as from another world. Towns Van Zandt did things to country that never happened before and never happened afterwards. This is unique in the world of music. It is amongst the best albums ever made. And it's just at number 4 in the list of best albums from 1969. I'm repeating myself, but what a year. At number 3, another hard rock royalty. Led Zeppelin 2. Now, this record, this is the first British pressing, and I know a lot of people say that actually the Bob Ludwig pressing is better. It's impossible to find one in Europe, so I ordered one, and I'm going to do a video about that. Because this is one of those albums I just, despite the price, I gotta hear it the best way. Opening with Whole Lotta Love. What is and what should never be? The Lemon Song. Thank you. The guitar and thank you. And this Plant's voice. Heartbreaker. Live and Love and Mate. She's a Woman. Ramble On. Moby Dick. Bring It On Home. Oh, I just, it's this is a powerhouse, and I have a number of copies of this album. Nevertheless, even just um, holding it is already um, making me giggle. Seriously, because I grew up in a time in which my parents did not have these kind of records at the house. All we had were um, how do I say this? Some compilations. Um, my parents were not in for the big albums in the day, And then you hear something like Led Zeppelin 2 for the first time, and it's just, yeah, it's rock royalty. It's rock royalty. Love it. At number 3, Led Zeppelin 2. At number 2, one of the records that changed my life, Tommy by The Who. Why did Tommy change my life? Um, well, because I'm basically very interested in narrative, and Tommy is just the most amazing opera ever. One of the most amazing operas ever, and it's purely rock. Before listening to it, I could not comprehend how is it possible to make opera and rock. That's rock is rough. If rock is rough, especially the Who is rough, how can it be as sophisticated that becomes a rock opera? Well, listen to Tommy. Everything is possible. It's as sophisticated as you can imagine. The development, the melodies. It's also a raw rock. And Tommy is completely unique in that regard. It's one of those albums. If you put it on, you can't put it off. At number 2, Tommy. Well, what's left? Always good to end the list with the Beatles. Abbey Road. This one has grown on me, and it has to do with the perfection, the brilliance of the sound, the brilliance of the sound. This is the first British pressing, and I gave it a ultrasonic cleaning. I don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, but in the area, someone here cleans ultrasonic, and now I have fully heard what's going on here. It's a magical experience. Side 2 opening with Here Comes the Sun, and then you get the melody with so many interesting, quirky sounds, gorgeous melodies, the medley melodies. Um, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, the end. That might be the best thing the Beatles have, the best song by the Beatles. Those 3, because they are one. It's tough to say because it's the Beatles, but also the lyrics there. It's so lovely. It's such a sweet goodbye. Opening with Come Together. Something. Mm. Maxwell Silverhammer. I don't mind that song. I think it's a nice quirky song. Oh darling. Octopus's Garden. People say that it's a poor man's yellow submarine. That's just nonsense. I think Ringo Starr got a bizarre inspiration because he was on a cruise. I believe a cruise with Peter Sellers, and then he heard that octopuses have gardens. Now, to write a song, Octopus's Garden, when you are playful, so happy, so sincere, and you write a song like Octopus's Garden, it gets to my heart. And I think that song deserves much more, a much bigger embrace. And then I Want You, She's So Heavy. And after that, you can go to the medley of all medleys. Ah, Abbey Road at number 1. So I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below, and I'll see you in my next video.